The spark of creation, a melody, lyrics. From demo to disc, this is Anatomy of a Song. Welcome to Anatomy of a Song. This is part 2 of our conversation with Tommy Townsend. In part 1, Tommy talked about his musical roots and how he came up through the music business aided by family and friends, including a mentorship from Waylon Jennings, among others. Here at Anatomy of a Song, we like to do a deep dive on at least one song from a composer. We left the conversation in part 1 just as Tommy was going to tell us about how he and a rap musician crossed paths and made some very special music.
I told you the story about me working with the rap artist, right?
Yes, but tell it here for the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy's name is Playa Poncho, and
Shout out.
Shout out Playa Poncho. He's had several hits. One of his biggest hits was back in probably the late 90s, early 2000s. He was a young guy, like 15, 16 years old at that time, and it was called What's Up, What's Up. And so I met him not through the music business, but he's a DJ too, does all this stuff and does shows with that plus with his career. But he was wanting to develop a vodka, and wanted our distillery to bottle it for him and having it started. So anyway, this was about just maybe a little over 2 years ago, and my daughter, who actually is the general manager of the distillery, told me one day, said, Playa Poncho is coming up tomorrow to meet with us about doing a vodka. And I'm like, who? My daughter, she knew, knew who he was. Both my daughters did. Yeah. And so I thought, man, that's cool. So, but he came up the next day, he and his alcohol guy. He's the nicest guy you've ever been around. It wasn't flashy, and so they hung out with us all day long. And so we went to play golf later on that afternoon. Yeah. And so we got finished with golf, and I remember I was going to Florida the next day to do a show, so I had to kind of cut it short. But we got talking, just talking about the studio, and it's the yin and the yang here, a rap traditional country artist. So we were talking about going in the studio sometime and just seeing what happened. Sure. And so a few months went by, and I didn't hear from him, and then just all of a sudden one day I was in Nashville. We were getting ready to go somewhere with the band, and he called me, and he said, I got some studio time next week in Atlanta. He said, would you like to join me? And I first thought, well, I don't know, because it's totally different thing than what I do. Sure. And I thought, but heck, get out of your comfort zone and just try something. Sure. So I said, yeah, I'll join you. And he said, we'll just have fun. We don't have any ideas or anything. So I called him back, I guess a day or two later or something. I said, do you mind if I bring a steel guitar player and bring my Fender Telecasters and stuff? He goes, man, he said, bring whoever you want to. He said, we're just going to have fun. Good. Love that. So anyway, so I called my friend Tim Hamilton, and he great steel guitar player, does sessions in Nashville and played with different artists or whatever. But he lives in Canton, Georgia. And I asked him, I said, Tim, would you like to go to Atlanta with me? I said, I'm going to work with a hip hop artist, and we're just going to have fun. I said, would you go? And I first, I said, well, if you don't want to, I said, that's fine, because a lot of steel guitar players are very traditional country. I'm imagining. So anyway, he said, yeah, I'll go. I said, it'll be fun. I said, where's the studio? So sent him the address, and we met down there, and Tim set his steel guitar up just in the control room, and you'd thought a spaceship landed. They didn't know what in the world that was. Sure. And so Tim got it set up, and I had my guitar set up, and I brought my a Fender Twin amp, And so the engineer, he said, "Oh, you don't have to plug up your amp." He said, "I got all kinds of plug-ins." He said, "I can give you a Fender Twin. I can get whatever you want, you know." So just plug straight into his board.
Yeah.
And so we sitting there and just kind of noodling around, and Pancho goes, "Tim, what's those two necks on the steel guitar there?" So there's one a bass guitar and one a guitar, and Tim goes, "No." He said, one's a C6 neck and one's an E9 neck. Right. And he said, but the E9 neck is the money neck. He said, it's what all steel players play on. And he goes, money neck? And Tim goes, yeah. He said, money neck. He goes, let's write a song about money. So we're just kind of letting Pancho take the lead here because, like I say, Tim and I are totally out of our element of what goes on. So anyway, so Pancho just kind of starts running around the control room just saying, money neck, money neck, money neck, money neck. And so Tim and I sit down, and the engineer was he is actually a very, very good drummer, and worked in New York for a long time, and but was carjacked and shot and paralyzed from his waist down. Well, he had his drums configured to where he could play everything with his hands, but he had them all. He had them all sampled too. So he just created a beat, you know, with his sounds. And Tim and I just sat down, hit an A chord, started playing.
Right, sure.
And just, you know, just kept playing. And then just like you and I sitting here, and you know, we didn't have headphones on or nothing because we were just in the studio listening to the playback speakers. Right. And you know, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes into the song, a line come to me that says, "Money, I like money." And so Pancho goes, "Oh, wait, stop. Let's record that." Yeah. So what we did was just kind of stretched it out. Money, I like money, you know. Yeah. And so we did that, and then, Lord, we put like 8 tracks of vocals on top of that, harmonies and doubling and everything. And Tim's a real high singer, and he put a real high harmony on, and I put the rest of them on whatever. And so we recorded that, and we sat back down, started playing again. And so it's funny, Tim and I were like, at some point we got to change keys here. this thing can't be an A chord to the whole thing.
Right.
So we actually just kind of changed key, you know, just going to an E, and you know, after a few hours, figured out a structure of the song. And then I remember when I guess we were trying to get maybe toward the end of the song, I sung a little thing just while we were sitting there playing, doing the track. Money burning holes in my pocket. Well, Pancho's like, wait, let's record that. So, so we go in and record that, stack harmonies, you know, stack vocals and all that. And so, you know, we're several hours into this thing. I'm like, how in the world are we going to get a song
out of
all of this? And it's I'm like, I don't even know where we are in this whole thing. It's just we got a line of a chorus and a line of an outro or whatever. So several hours into it, we got the structure of it. And Tim had to go to do a gig somewhere. And but we were talking, and we were like, you know, Tim and I and Pancho were sitting there eating lunch or something, and the pot smoke was so thick.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah. And but anyway, we're like, we've never done this. It's like when you're in Nashville, when you go do a recording session, you got your songs picked out. Yep. You got your players picked out. You got the studio picked out. You just go in and
very organized.
Very organized with the producer. Yep. And he goes, "Oh, we don't do this," and said it's all just you know, off the cuff spontaneity. And but which I was kind of liking, because I'm kind of that way anyway, you know. So
as long as you're not paying for the studio time.
And we weren't, because Pancho records in the studio all the time. It's for CeeLo Green and all the hip hop guys. But anyway, we several hours into it, we got the structure. So Tim had to leave, and I know this is kind of a long story, but
I love it.
Yeah,
go.
Tim had to leave, and so Pancho's like, "Well, you sit over here, and I'll sit over here," and said, "You write the country verses, and I'll write the the hip hop verses, and then we'll come together and see what happens. So I knew the part that I needed. I mean, the part of the song where I needed to write my verse, and because we kind of sort of planned that out. Right. And so I was sitting over there, and I was writing on my iPhone. Yeah. And so I remembered when I was a little kid, I was probably 6 or 7 years old. My grandfather gave me $100 bill, and he said, son, he goes, I'm giving you this $100 bill. He goes, stick it in your pocket. He said, you never know when you'll need it, but don't spend it until you need to spend it. Okay. I've still got that $100 bill.
Do you really?
Today, yeah.
I'll be damned.
And so anyway, and I don't know where ideas come from or whatever, but that just came to me while we're sitting there. Mm-hmm. That whole thing, because I can remember just as plain as day on my grandparents' front porch, him giving me that money, that $100 bill. And like I say, I have no idea. It just came out of left field. I thought, okay, let's just, write the story of that. Yeah. And so I did. And then Pancho wrote his part, and it's kind of a story. It is a story of him. And so we needed one more verse, and then Tim wrote a verse, and then he and I kind of tweaked the verse over the phone a couple of days later, and then we went back and put that verse in, and I put some guitar licks, and so we got the song done, and Pancho was like, oh, I guess we need a bass guitar. He said, Tommy, do you play bass? And I'm like, I can play bass, but I'm not a bass player. Yeah, sure. So anyway, and the engineer goes, well, there's 4 or 5 basses laying over there, so just pick one. We'll figure it out. So I sat down and kind of an hour or so and learned the parts of it, and played bass on it, and we put acoustic guitar on it, and I guess without the vocals in it, if you just listen to the track, it would sound somewhat between Aerosmith's "Sweet Emotion" and "Midnight Rider." That's kind of what. These country tracks and the twanging with the Telecaster, and I didn't do anything different than I would normally do. Pancho did not do anything different than he would normally do, and Tim, and somehow that came together, and I'm a firm believer that that stuff don't just happen by accident. It's a higher power that puts people together or something, with that. Because, it was funny, Pancho and I were talking, he goes, we were actually just talking a few minutes ago, he goes, we've written a couple songs and recorded them, but we've not done no liquor yet.
Still wanting to do that vodka.
Yeah. No, that's coming. And actually, it is coming. It should be out, that's the first quarter of next year. The song and the vodka. The vodka is called I Like Money Vodka.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it really cool bottle. So we'll come out with that and the song and everything at one whack. And we shot a video for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And and the cool thing about it is we paid for it all ourselves, so we'll own all rights to everything, so we can license it to this one and license it to whoever
sure.
that we need to, So, but we've got another one almost done, almost recorded, and it's called Country Party, and we did it the same way. We just like if the formula is not broken, don't mess with it. And it's me and Pancho and Tim.
Is that finished? Country Party?
Almost. Yeah, we got a few more things to do, but that'll be the probably a second single.
And the other one was I Like Money, right?
I Like Money. Yeah.
And I Like Money is finished, right?
It is done.
Okay.
Yes, it is done.
And can we feature that in this podcast? Put a little bit, just a little bit of it
in
detail?
A little snippet.
Sure. Yeah.
Clap your hands if you like money. Clap your hands if you like money. Stomp your foot if you like money. Stomp your foot if you like money. Come on, clap your hands if you like money. Clap your hands if you like money. Stomp your foot if you like money. Stomp your foot if you like money. Come on. Money. I like money, like money, like money. I like money, like money, like money. I like money, like money. Put your hands in the air, get money, get money. Money. I like money, like
I'm just going to do my parts because it's hard to do.
Okay.
His rapping parts.
money. I like money. Put your hands in the air, get paid. Money. I like money.
I like to do the. This is his part.
Yeah.
Here's my part. Well, back in my day, it was hard to come by. I had to work all day, work all night. But my granddaddy said, son, stick it in your pocket and do what you do with it.
Money. Yeah, I like money. Money burning holes in my pocket. Money burning holes in my pocket. Money burning holes. Money burning holes. Money burning holes in my pocket. 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 Money burning holes in my money burning holes. Money burning holes in my pocket. Like money. USA like money. China like money.
I love that. I love that. That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, let's you've written a ton of songs. What are you working on now? Anything special?
I'm really not working on anything right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about, you want to get back into
Yeah.
songwriting, maybe start the process
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to. I just
Do you feel that there are certain I sometimes go through periods when I write. Like I know if I'm trying to write something and
Yeah.
I'm forcing it, then I say, you know what? Let's go for a drive. Let's go for a walk. Let's set
Exactly,
it aside for
yeah.
maybe a week.
Yeah.
Maybe a month.
Yep.
And then suddenly one day you're sitting there and you noodle on the guitar and a song pops out.
Yeah.
And then I'll write 3 in a row and then
Yeah.
not write anything for a month.
Exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
go through that?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And there was 1 year I wrote 80 something songs.
Is that right?
Yeah. With co-writing and writing by myself too. I do have one song that I wrote a few years ago with Burton Collins. Burton actually, the first song he ever wrote went number 1 with Patty Loveless, called "You Don't Even Know Who I Am."
Sure, I know that song.
And anyway, but he and I have been friends for a long time, and I had this idea and took it to him, and we actually recorded just earlier this year, recorded a demo for it, but we mostly just did an acoustic demo because it just lends itself to that.
Yeah.
And they're going to pitch it to Chris Stapleton.
Sweet.
So I don't know
Let's knock on some wood around here.
when
We
he's
got plenty of wood.
when he's recording, but
Sure.
but it's something that it's kind of a bluesy country thing.
I find sometimes that I'll go through periods where I will write a ballad, several ballads.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And then a couple weeks or months later, suddenly a couple of rockers
Yeah.
come out or up-tempo stuff.
Yeah,
They tend to come in fits, in spurts,
yeah,
in groups.
Yeah.
Are you like that as
yeah,
well?
yeah. Just it's I do kind of maybe have something I'm working on now. Like I say, my dad passed away back in June, and
Just this past year?
yeah,
How old was he?
yeah, he was 85,
God bless him.
almost 86. Yeah, and but anyway, he and I were always really close, and gosh, it's probably been I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago, I had this most vivid dream of him, and it was, stuff went on, and you know how your dreams, you forget them, and it's kind of like goes here and goes there.
Yep.
And my dad, he was a no bullcrap kind of guy, and his sense of humor was really dry. And but anyway, it's like, and what the dream was, and I woke up, my cell phone rang, and it was him.
Really?
And I was standing out in like a middle of a field or something, and so I said, Dad, how am I talking to you?
Huh? Yeah, sure.
And he goes, "Oh, son, I'm right here." Wow. And I woke up. It was really cool,
And you still feel his presence?
Oh yeah,
Every
all
day.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like at the distillery, man. He came every day and bottled.
I'll be darned.
Helped. I mean, he worked harder than anybody,
I'll be darned.
And,
yeah.
But
People come and go in our lives, but there's certain people that I lost my brother a number of years ago.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in my studio and I was pointing out because you were a drummer and my brother was a drummer, and I still use his piccolo snare over there, and you saw that when you first came in, and there's certain people that, and I find that they kind of I don't write songs about them.
Yeah.
I don't write songs about them, but that they do influence kind of the world around me.
Yeah, exactly.
Which leaves me open to the universe, which leaves me open to ideas and songs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I when I had that dream, is like, I need to write a song about that, but and there would be parts of it would be about him, and then, like you, kind of, it might go somewhere else to be whatever, but
it always does. These things start in one direction and then sort of go in another. Okay, so how can people find your music?
Well, you can go to TommyTownsendMusic.com. You can go there. And then all the social media things are Tommy Townsend Music, Facebook, Instagram.
And your stuff's on Spotify and Pandora.
It's on every streaming outlet that's known to man. It's there. So
Good. And then we have to do a quick shout out to Granddaddy Mims.
An
institution here in Blairsville. Tell us the sort of the thumbnail story of how that came to you and what it's all about.
Well, it's my grandfather was a famous moonshiner here in North Georgia, and several years ago, a friend of mine in California gave me the idea to put it back out. And I didn't know anything about the liquor business or anything. And so in 2016, we started the distillery here in Blairsville. It's called Granddaddy Mims Distillery. My grandfather was named Jack McClure, but all the grandkids called him Mim or Mimmy, and I don't remember him. But anyway, so we put that out, and we had distribution in Georgia, and it was a hobby. I thought that's cool to do something with my grandfather's, and so we did that. And now it's grown into a full-blown business. We got 2 locations here in Blairsville. We got a location in Dawsonville, Georgia. We're distributed in 6 states, and Walmart in Florida has all of our stuff, the ones that sell liquor. But we're in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and Arizona. So
that's awesome.
But I think we went from doing like 30 or 40 cases a month. I think last year we did 17,000 cases or something like that. So
wow.
It's a whole thing now. So now I don't know which one's the hobby. But y'all can check that out at granddaddymims.com, and my music's, you can find me there, and it's all linked together. So
it's one of the nicest places in Blairsville. If you're in the area, make sure you swing by Granddaddy Mims.
Please do.
I walk in every time I walk in there. I feel like I'm family.
Yeah.
The people behind the bar is, hey, how are you? It's just like, are you talking to me?
Oh yeah.
I'm not used to such. It's just It's some bars you walk into. Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like I say,
everyone there is so nice.
It's all family oriented, and and the staff that we have there, they're awesome people. Every one of them, they know what to do. Tell them, so most of them are from here too. So they got that Southern hospitality mountain thing.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah. Here's a song that's I wrote a few years ago with a guy named Burton Collins, and like I say, Burton, first song he ever written was a Patti Loveless song.
Well, play us out.
Well, I got my boots in your closet, my shirt's folded up in your drawer. I gotta tell you right now, girl, I ain't never been this far before. Seems like I was always running somewhere, afraid of falling in too deep. Now, girl, I don't want to move, I just want more of you. Baby, you love the leaving out of me.
Tommy Townsend, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, pleasure.
And that's our episode for today. Anatomy of a Song was written and produced at The Sawmill in Blairsville, Georgia. As always, feel free to contact me with your questions and or thoughts on your own composing and recording process. Our email address is, it's one long word, anatomyofasongpodcast@gmail.com. I'm your host, Greg Smith. We'll see you next time on Anatomy of a Song.